Hi, everyone. My name's Derek. I'm the CEO of Futureswap, and really excited to announce sort of some new things that we're doing. We've got some special plans, and yeah, I'd love to fill you in on a little bit about who we are and what we do and what we're announcing. So let's just a little bit of history. How does this work? There we go. Yeah, just some quick backstory on Futureswap. So Futureswap was started 2019 during a bear market. DeFi was just starting to become a thing. Uniswap had just sort of launched, and it became really interesting. And sort of the craze around DeFi was heating up. And we sort of were big fans of Binance and FTX and these other platforms. And we decided, what if we could bring on-chain derivatives, specifically perpetuals, fully on-chain, fully decentralized in the best way possible. So Futureswap did that. So we were the first to launch on-chain perpetuals, right? And this is a market that has gone from less than $1 billion in daily volume to over $100 billion on ETH and BTC alone. So it's a massive, massive market. And it's been an insane ride. So that's just some quick story on Futureswap, DeFi project that does perpetuals. So where we are now. So where we are now is Futureswap V4. We've had 4 iterations, which has been, seems like it's gone by so fast. And really what we've sort of innovated on is using Uniswap's latest code to essentially create really interesting markets. And by that, I mean, Uniswap is sort of the largest, most well-known AMM. We decided to say, hey, why don't we source our liquidity from this AMM and basically leverage these concentrated positions, because it looks very much so like an order book. And so that's what we did. We basically use Uniswap as our exchange, and then behind the scenes, we essentially create this leverage trading experience. And V4 was really the first stab at that. We weren't sure if it was going to work the way we wanted to, and the mechanics and sort of the economic security around it. And so we've been live since October, and it's been running really well, safe and sound, no issues. So you can do up to 30x leverage, fully decentralized. It's not running on some AWS server somewhere. And what's really interesting is we do have our own LPs for the pools that we point at on Uniswap. These LPs are delta neutral, so they are not exposed to impermanent loss, which is a really nice feature for LPs if they're interested in having sort of a lower risk profile with still high yield. And yeah, so here to announce Futureswap V4.1. We just finished our audit, which is really nice. And in this, it's an iteration on features that we wanted in the past, but we said we're going to shelf these and slowly building up to what we really want for this exchange. And this was just sort of the first stab at it. So really happy we got this iteration in, and it's a big, big leap from where we were. And the features that this includes is multi-chain. So one of the things that we're seeing right now is there's a lot of really exciting chains. Of course, Ethereum is where most of the liquidity is, but if you look over the past year, the liquidity is growing elsewhere enormously. And I think Ethereum is now close to 50% of the total liquidity, whereas a year ago it was in the 90s, high 90s. And so now we've got all these really incredible chains, and on these chains, there's different demographics, there's different users, and they also want a DeFi experience or something to basically power the financial infrastructure. So being able to bridge and do cross-chain communication with our governance system, this is sort of a tricky thing that protocols will have to deal with. And so understanding how to bridge these calls and have interoperability between chains for one protocol is really important. And then also, what does voting look like? What does tokenomics look like? How do you transferring the token around? This is all really important. How do you secure this? Because the bridge is, these bridges are very vulnerable, and we will see more attacks from these bridges. So we wanted to apply sort of our best engineering experience to understanding how to mitigate some of those things in the architecture. So multi-chain, currently on Arbitrum right now, but we'll be moving to things like Avalanche and Optimism and all the other interesting chains, Phantom. Super excited for that. The biggest update here is multi-AMM. And multi-AMM, essentially, we call this swap adapter. And in swap adapter, essentially what this does is it allows us to, instead of just using Uniswap V3, we can now use any AMM. So now that we can use any AMM, we can also target any pair on any AMM. And we can leverage the liquidity, whether it's on Uniswap V2, whether it's on Curve, whether it's on Balancer. So long as it has a swap function, we can do leverage on that pair through that AMM. So this was a really large breakthrough for us in enabling more composability and the path to permissionlessness. Obviously, with many AMMs, you now have a lot more pairs. You can sort of source your favorite pair with the most liquidity depending on what the pair is. So some exchanges have less than others, and so we want to just go straight to where the largest source of liquidity is to get the best slippage for your trades. Yeah, and so just to kind of break down who would be interested in this and why, there's really three subgroups. There's traders, there's protocols, and there's AMMs. And we interact with all these in different ways. And for traders, we've sort of revamped and rehauled the trade experience to make it more streamlined, to make it much better, to make it mobile. This was a big ask from our users, our community, and so being able to deliver on this was really important. So this will be coming very soon. Most exciting pairs, of course, being able to trade on the latest things, the most interesting, the hottest tokens is sort of like Futureswap's main goal. So being able to be very quick to market on some of these new tokens is where we want to be. So this is another step towards that goal. And then lastly, more order types. So order types are really important for traders. They enable more types of strategies beyond just market buys. And so limit orders, stop loss, this is incredibly important as well. And being able to do this in a decentralized way, and there's a spelling error there, in a decentralized way is really important. And so we think we figured out sort of the best way to do this, and we'll be adding support with this along with the other features here. So that'll hopefully make it a lot easier for people to enact the trade strategies they're interested in. For protocols, so because we're using the AMM and the pair that the protocol created, probably, the more trade volume we get, the more fees are generated for that pair, for that token. And for us to essentially take on leverage on any pair, users do deposit some amount of liquidity. And in this, if you're a token project, by having a Futureswap pair, we also have utility for your token as well. So we increase the utility of every token that we're listing. And this is really important because there's a lot of projects that are looking just for more utility. So you can safely be an LP with the protocol token, earn fees, and be delta neutral. And this is really nice for protocols and their users. Increase yields for AMM LPs. So if you're an LP in that pool already on the AMM side, you'll see more yield, which ultimately attracts more liquidity into the pool, right? So if you're only at 2% APY, that's way less attractive than if you're at 50% APY. And ultimately for protocols, it's very important that they have deep liquidity pools to stabilize their reward programs. So this is something that we hope to help a lot on. And then lastly, we added this feature so that any protocol that we list basically can now take their token and put on trade incentive rewards. Similar to liquidity rewards with the synthetic staking contract for LPs, you can now incentivize traders to trade on this pair. So this is very exciting for sort of bootstrapping and testing and experimenting what it looks like for you to generate more volume for the LPs. So this is sort of a cool feature that has also been built in. And lastly, for AMMs. So we work pretty closely with a lot of AMMs across many chains. And you know, it's a symbiotic relationship mainly because we generate more volume for them. Every trade that goes through Futureswap ultimately hits their AMM, and that's fees. Fees for the LPs, but also for the protocol AMM that's charging some percentage on each trade. And at the end of the day, it's a very competitive space, and what differentiates you is your liquidity and your trade volume. And it's pretty, it's non-trivial to get liquidity, but trade volume is somewhat trickier to get. You need to incentivize demand, and so we've sort of filled this gap a little bit, and we'll continue iterating on this. But we've also made it really easy to integrate Futureswap, at least the UI for these AMMs. So what we've built is sort of a very basic version that anyone can sort of take as a scaffolding and make it their own, brand it as they want, and sort of offer leverage to their community as an AMM. And in the back, of course, it's Futureswap, but it's using their pools. So it sort of gives more utility to their users in this sort of AMM swap race. So we're really excited about that. And then if they do this, there are referral fees because basically we see this message was passed by the AMM address, and we, give some tokens to them all through the smart contracts. And then at the end of the day, if there's more trade volume, they're going to have more fees generated. They have more liquidity because the yields are attracting LPs. So this is sort of the three subgroups that we really focused on. Really excited about this, this push into being more composable and hooking onto more AMMs, just because there's so much liquidity in these AMMs, and they're all sort of wanting to bootstrap, especially from a project perspective, sort of attention, traction, liquidity, noise. So yeah, we think this is going to be a great tool in the arsenal of DeFi users and protocols. So super excited about this. Yeah, and we're hiring. So if anyone is interested in AMMs, we know a lot about those. We've built them, designed them, and we build extensions on them as well. So if you're interested in the leverage trading space, in the AMM space, on tackling really hard problems, please check out our website at futureswap.com. Check out the angel list, and if you see a role, or if you don't see a role that you want, you can always email us and say, hey, you should probably have this role, and we'll talk about it, and we might be open to it. But yeah, it was, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Is there any questions? It's .io. The website is .com. The email is .io. Thanks for the clarification. Cool. Oh, yeah. It'll be out in 2 weeks, early April on Avalanche, and then soon on Ethereum. We do not solicit US traders on our platform. US IPs are blocked from using our product. Cool. Well, yeah, if there's any other questions, feel free to grab me. You'll see me walking around here, and thanks a lot. Have a great day.